Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Right, so everything about the socio-cultural aspects of how AI can be implementable in the Indian region, right? So how many of you have already used AI for just asking questions? Everyone. What type of questions do you ask? Yeah, what type of questions do you ask? For your assignments? Okay. Then? Huh? You don't use AI. Very good. Then? Have you for learning? Okay. Okay. Have debugging. Okay. Have you used AI for editing your images for your photographs? Huh? It's bad. Okay. How many of you have used Ghibli styling? You used? Okay. Do you think it is safe? No. Okay. But why is Ghibli so popular? Yeah. Then it is representing some community, right? A Japanese thing, right? So, yeah. So, did you post it on social media? No. So, how many of you have LinkedIn or Facebook or X accounts? Instagram, yeah. How many of you post your photos there? Okay. So, how many of you actually labeled the photos that you post in Instagram as AI? Do you even know that there is a label which you can enable? Yeah. Do you know how they are used? Right. So, this is, yeah. So, you are not using AI for assignments. That is clear. You are using it. Okay. Let's. How many of you have conversed with AI or these ChatGPT kind of tools in a language other than English? What language did you use? Tamil. Was it able to give you proper answers? It was. Okay. It was it about a scientific topic or was it something like a very general thing? Everything, but it's able to capture, right? Yeah. So, do you have some tools to use now? Do you have mobiles or laptops? Can you just try this experiment? Say you can add whatever information that you want and ask ChatGPT or Gemini to generate an image, okay, of a successful student, right? You can say from DAV or from PSBB, whatever, right? And give some features, make, yeah, whatever. See what kind of image is it generating. Just 2 minutes. And maybe a couple of people, a couple of students can describe what it has generated. Don't upload your photos, but still you can give more and more information of how do you want the student to look like. Yeah, should they wear a hat, like a graduation hat, whatever? No. Okay, keep it, keep it. So once you're all done, just let me know. Done? So what are all the tools that you are using now? What is a language model? ChatGPT. Okay, then. Okay, Gemini, Perplexity. Okay. So how many of you got a photo of, guys listen. So how many of you got a photo of a boy? No, Aravela, okay. Boy. How many of you got a photo of a girl? Boy or girl? See. So how many of you got girl? Very few. Right? What are the models that you are using? ChatGPT, Gemini. Okay. What did you actually explicitly mention it as girl? No. Then how did it actually generate a girl? By a stereotyping everything, right? Maybe because of your previous conversations, right? So, or it would have known your gender. Have you used AI to compose a song? How many of you love songs here? How many of you can sing? So all of you can actually write and sing with the help of AI. Just train the model with your voice, and you can ask the AI to write something like write lyrics, and then ask it to compose music and then sing for you. Right? So if you upload it, it will be like someone like what's your name? Yeah. So you can say that written and composed by Karan with the help of AI. So now you can become a lyric writer, a musician, right? So everything is possible now. Right? So how many of you know that your phone is actually smart? Do you think it is smart, or is it like powerful like your brain? Like it is able to remember everything? It's not smart, it's not intelligent? No? Have you used these things? Facial recognition technologies. Do you think it is a smart technology or an intelligent technology? Actually, it works based on the artificial neural networks. So this is an AI model that runs behind your phone to recognize your facial features, right? So how many of you use YouTubes and get suggestions? Right? So again, there is an AI algorithm that is running behind the YouTube, and that is actually recommending the next video based on your preview histories and all. Right? So again, Google Map has a similar thing. So how many of you know how to train and develop and deploy an AI model? Do you know how artificial intelligent models are learning? It's majorly with all data sets. And where do you get data from? Sorry? Yeah, whatever that is already digitized, and there are certain things that we get from the government departments as well, and use them for training the AI model, right? So basically, you get like thousands and millions of examples, which is actually annotated, and then we make the model learn. It's not just feeding the data and give instructions, right? You have to do some mathematical calculations to apply the functions on top of the data to identify patterns, and then see the behavior and see what is the objective, right? So based on the objective, the decision comes out, right? So this is an interesting thing. Yeah, so to actually come up with this process, right? This is the life cycle of developing an AI model and deploying it. Okay, so initially the process one is like you want to identify a problem which will actually make sense for you to solve, and it should be helpful for you when you are going to deploy it, right? So how do you identify a problem? So do you have any real world problems which is not solvable by humans? Anything for you in your life or in the society, right? So do you think you need an AI assistant to solve it? Right? So for that, actually we have to identify the problem and decide what kind of outputs do we need. right? Depending on that, we should collect the data, process it, and also have some rules for saying that this is how my data should look like. So you can't just give in the raw data, whatever you collect from social media, and say that you have to create a model, right? So for that, there are set of rules which are like feature engineering things, which will actually pre-process, eliminate certain values, certain characters in your data, remove certain words, right? So there are a lot of natural language processing technologies that are actually used here to make your data an AI ready one. Similarly, when it is a photograph, right? Similarly, when it is an audio or video thing, again there are certain features that has to be removed, that has to be masked, and then only after that the data becomes AI ready to get trained, right? So that is how it works. And then the model building is where the actual AI learning happens, right? So now you have a processed data that will be given to a network or an algorithm. So machine learning is a basic preliminary algorithm that people started with, and later we moved on to convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks, which actually works like your brain. Like your brain has lot of nodes, and then the instructions go on with linking the nodes, right? So that's how even here the neural networks are like, you have different nodes in the network, and then the information from one layer to the other layer, it gets passed on, and certain nodes will be deactivated based on the activation function, and whatever that is actually active till the end of the neural network layer will actually give you the final results, right? So that is a bit complicated and interesting mathematical works that actually comes in as part of the AI models. And then the model building is all about training and testing, right? So whatever decision or the outcomes the AI model brings in will have to be validated based on the ground truth, right? So I will say that this is a boy, right? So the AI model can still say that this is a girl. So you have to go and fix it, teach it, right? So if a student makes a mistake, the teacher will come and correct it, right? So you will be given a lot of impositions, penalties and all, right? Similarly, here we have the log loss functions which will actually train the model based on some policies, right? So that will happen, and then the model building will end, and finally we will go on with testing and evaluation with the real world data sets. So now I will give in the real world case studies, like that is outside the data on which it is trained on, and then see how it performs, and only if the performance is good, we will go and deploy it in the real world settings. And that's how, after going through all these training and testing process, your phone is now having your facial recognition technologies, unlock with your face, your biometric things and all, right? So all these things is now applicable. So then we will deploy, and then we have to continuously monitor. Continuously monitor in the sense, only if you are using your phone, right? If there are other, then there is no issues, right? So if there is one system that is deployed, and if there are multiple people using the same data and the same model, so what happens, right? So when you see Facebook or some other social media, that will actually detect whether it is an AI generated image or not, or whether it is offensive content or not, and then they will actually remove it from the feed, right? So there will be something like, if in all your Instagram feeds and Facebook feeds, you will see some masked contents like offensive or distressing content, right? So how did they detect it? So all these things has to be continuously monitored, and then see how is it impacting people's life and their psychological things, and those things has to be flagged live, like on the production, or whenever the new data comes in, it has to be validated, it has to be sent through the model, and then things will happen, like depending on the content credibility, they will do all these things, right? So this is one of the applications of continuously monitoring and improving the outcomes of the AI model, right? Suppose the purpose of the AI model is well defined in the initial stage, And what happens if the purpose of using that particular system changes over time? Will you be still able to use the same model, or do you want to retrain, or do you want to come up with a new system that will serve the purpose, right? So what happens? Now you say this phone is not useful. Do you want to throw it off, or do you want to repair it, or do you want to try something new, like install a new version of things, right? So how do you do it? Is it applicable in the same way for the AI systems? We can retrain based on the new requirements, right? So the data set can be changed, the pipeline can be the same, and you should add new data to the existing model and then retrain it and fine tune it and then use the same thing, right? So this is the concept. So how many of you are aware of the different types of AI models, techniques? Have you seen it applied somewhere? Yeah. How do you actually get, so maybe this is the most fundamental classification of AI models, right? So first thing is that, I mean, these are like machine learning models which are the foundations of AI. So the traditional classification thing is that we have already discussed that whether it's a boy or a girl, whether it's a bird or a flight, right? So you have two different things to be identified, and either you can say like how the binary system works, right? Either it's 0 or 1, right? So these type of classification applies here. And the predictive forecasting is all about what happens in the future, right? To predict what happens in the future, you need the historical data to be analyzed. Like how do you get climatic conditions analyzed, and then the rainfall predictions are given out, right? So how does the meteorological department here works in? So you will be declared some 3 days of continuous leave because of heavy rainfall, floods and everything, right? So how do they predict it? They actually identify patterns from the historical data depending on the humidity, temperature and everything. So when it rises, what happens in the atmosphere, and all these observations are recorded somewhere historically, and those data are fed into the model training thing, and then the algorithms will now learn the patterns and then give you some predictions, right? So can you give me two different use cases where you can apply these two things? If you want to predict something new in the future, do you have some idea of where you can use all these things? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Diagnosis for which one? No, diagnosis comes in classification. That is not historical, right? So the instances, the historical data in the sense you will have 1000 rows, right? So 1000 rows are like linked to each other. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 is something. And if it is a diagnosis, it will be like for one patient it is different, the other patient it is different. So you have to do a classification thing, but then the symptoms can be the features for one particular patient, right? But for the predictive thing, it will be like for the entire country or for the entire region, the same features will be extended over time, right? So maybe you can do that for patient specific information if you want to predict it. Yeah. Inherited diseases, again the instances are different, right? The patient is different. Yeah, again, the inherited diseases will be part of the feature list, right? So there are two different things, right? If you want to identify disease specific symptoms, then you can have the historical things. If you want to identify, then you can, disease specific symptoms should go to the classification thing. If you want to identify or analyze something that is patient specific, then you can go for forecasting. Right, for one patient, what was the status when he had cancer stage 1, 2, 3, right? So then for that it is fine. Okay. Yeah, so these two things, right? So initially the previous two algorithms which I mentioned earlier, you need data and the label, right? So you need to mark the sample image or the text that you have with a class. And when it comes to the generative AI things, you don't need the class and it will actually learn by itself, right? So for all the ChatGPT, Meta kind of models that you are using, they don't have labels marked. So they would have actually learned that this is a dog by themselves, based on the different information that they have, and there is no labeling here, right? So as I said, you can create new images, new text based on the data on which it is trained. So what is the issue here, right? So when you created the Ghibli images, was it actually reflecting your facial features? It is anyways going to be an anime version of your face, right? So was it actually representing the Indian faces? No. Why? Because it was trained on the Japanese data, right? It was only able to capture the major features and not your facial structure, right? So that was the issue, and that is the issue in which all the socio-technical things are happening here. So how many languages does India have? How many official languages does India have? Yeah. So do you think that these kind of AI models will be able to translate or speak in all 22 different languages? Do we have data for it? How many of you have posted something in your mother tongue on social media? Mother tongue in actual Tamil scripts or something. Malayalam. You used only Malayalam scripts or the transliteration version of Malayalam? That is the issue, right? So how do you make the model learn all these code mixes, right? So the concept of Tanglish or the English with Malayalam and all, we call it as code mixes, right? So how do you identify and detect the language first of all, and then map it to the meaning, and then map it to the context? Only if you understand that what it means, then you will be able to map it with the actual keyword problem, right? Then you have to run these algorithms on top of it, right? Where do you think these kind of translation and transliteration things will be useful? So when you go to shops just to buy groceries and all, where do you think these things are already there? Foreign embassies. Okay. Then airports. Okay. Yeah. How many of you like IRCTC announcements? No. Why do you don't like it, right? Sound, the way, the accent, yeah. So that is the issue with AI. So how do you bring in, like, இப்போ தமிழ்ல நான் பேசுற மாதிரி எப்படி அதால பேச முடியும்? Try, how you should train it with so much of data, right? How will you train it? Who will give data for that? Huh? Yes. So there is this initiative called Bhashini by the government of India, which is collecting data in all regional languages. All of you can go and contribute to it. Okay? Just try it and they will actually give you a certificate for contributing. Okay? Bhashin. Yeah. So whoever, your parents, your grandmothers, right? So everyone can go and contribute to it. So it is like, if you know Hindi, if you know Bengali, right? If you know Marathi, go read it. So only thing is that, so when you think of language, right, you will have 4 different tasks, right? One thing is that read and translate. Then see the image and describe. Then listen to an audio and write it. And then what else? What all you can do in these things, right? So you can, there will be a writing and then you can pronounce it. So these are all the 4 different tasks, and all these things should be done in your regional language and in the local dialects. So how many of you are from Coimbatore? Yeah. ஏனுங்க இது மாதிரிலாம் பேசுறாங்கல்ல. So all these things should get into your AI model, right? So the data, the AI system should be able to recognize all these things so that a farmer in a very rural part of India should be able to use the AI systems, right? So when there are conversational agents that are built, right? So ChatGPT kita, if you want to ask some questions, you can't expect a farmer to ask it in English. And you can't ask the farmer to follow a very formal Hindi or Marathi or Tamil. They will have their own abilities of speaking a language, right? So how do you enable the AI to understand all these things, right? So yeah, there are 22 official language, but more than 20,000 dialects, right? So AI model should be aware of all these 20,000 dialects so that all the citizens in India will be able to use it. Right? Yeah. So coming back to the socio-cultural context. So how many of you have generated some images, right, of a successful student? Did you get some background or something in the Indian context? No. Why? There is no successful student in India. Okay. Then see, when I am asking for a CEO, it still gave me the female image. I am happy about that. But what is the background? New York, something like something London, New York, right? And when I am asking for a healthy breakfast, there's no idli, there's no vada, right? So why is this happening? Yeah. So you should upload more India specific information, right? So then train the model and make it more relevant to Indian context. What was it? Did you mention as IIT? Didn't say anything. Sorry? NIT is National Institute of Technology. That is also a nationally thing. See, the actual challenge here is that all the AI models here are missing 80% of the linguistic relevance in the regional context. So only 20% of the data that is already there in the internet has Indian languages. And with that, if they have trained the model, the extent to which it can serve is very limited, right? So have to bring in more data like that. Yeah. Now, can you regenerate another image? Okay, and see, and in the prompt, I think you should again mention some cultural context, right? So if you are from Tamil Nadu, just ask whether how Pongal is celebrated in some village, right? Yeah, or bring in any other cultural events that is very specific to your community. So there will be a lot of Tiruviras in your villages, right? See, just name it. What do you think that India or your family has a very cultural belief la? உங்க ஊர்ல ரொம்ப ஃபேமஸான கல்ச்சர் ஏதாவது பிலீவ் பண்ணுவாங்க? சரி, ஜல்லிக்கட்டு நம்ம ஊர்ல ரொம்ப ஃபேமஸ், சூரியன் பொங்கல் ஃபேமஸ், அதே மாதிரி தீபாவளி இஸ் சம்திங் ஃபேமஸ், right? Onam, whatever. In the Mari, Onam, Diwali is like people are well known of all these things, right? Is there something that you can't improve or some values, right? But in India, you will not stamp books, right? You will not call someone who is elder than you by name, right? So bring in all those things and see how it generates an image. Any socio-cultural value that you strongly believe and that is relevant to India, add it to the prompt and come up with a scenario and see whether the model is able to generate the same image which you are thinking that it will generate. Has anyone done? What did you ask? What? ChatGPT, I need this screenshot. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah. Tamil? Okay. This is how you celebrate Tamil New Year? Okay.
But no, ma'am, it's not the Catholic. It looks like
Yeah.
this is our.
Yeah. See, that's what. That is the issue. What is this? Okay. What defect do you see? Where is Tamil? Okay. Okay. Not this type of mistakes. Like if Pongal is something that is widely there in the yeah. Anyone else got? What's that? Do not stop. Okay. Okay. Any interesting outcomes? Yeah. Okay, holy. It's some Ter Tiruvizhava. Pondicherry. It has written Panguni Uttram. This is not holy. What was your prompt? Very good. Very good for identifying all these things. Yeah. Convocation and okay. Basically, it's learning from your previous prompts. Yeah. So, I need an assignment now. Okay. What was your prompt? Modi with who? Okay, I need an assignment from all of you now. Maybe send the screenshots of everything, or just write a liner of what you prompted and what was the response by the model and what is the model. Send it to me, or someone can collect it and then share it with who is your organizer. Because this is a very big project that we are running on to actually identify what is the socio-cultural relevance of all these westernized models and see whether it is deployable in India. Right? Huh? I'll show. Right, so how do you rate all these models now out of 0 to 5? What, 5? Okay. 3. Okay. Okay. Now I also have another assignment for your understanding. Okay. Go read about the data on which all these models are trained on and see how much of Indic language data is there in all these models. Right? Take it as an assignment for your home. Okay. So these are all the harms that can be created with all these models which are having these socio-cultural gaps. Okay, the first kind of harm is the linguistic gaps. So we actually found out lot of spelling mistakes, right? Spelling mistake la, where do you see that if you change one particular letter, it can give you a very different meaning? In Tamil or in any of your mother tongue, there is a word, and if you change just one letter, it will give you another different meaning. And when it is in a sentence, right, then it will actually become a very harmful message or something, right? Harmful or giving a very different context. Yeah. Kalai is morning, and then Kalai is animal and all, right? So all these things come into linguistic challenge, right? And then when you see bias and discrimination, so the gender related things and all comes into picture. And gender is a very well-known thing, right? So what happens if these models are biased towards caste, community, your socio-economic status, your identity, right? And you can be in a well-off community but still live in a region that is not supposed to be, that was not literally occupied by well-off people, right? So, or it can be the other way around also, right? So all these things can cause bias and discrimination. And how much of misinformation did you see? Everything here, what you got is all like fake information, right? So all these things are like not safe for people to consume, right? I'm not actually giving lot of negative things about this model, but be aware of all these things so that you will not end up in a very risky scenario in whenever you're using these models, right? Yeah. Do you think your fundamental human rights will be impacted because of these models? First of all, what is your fundamental rights in India? Hmm. Yeah. Where do you think all these models can come and impact all your fundamental rights? Do you think all these AI models can come and impact your fundamental human rights? Maybe like yes. Huh? They will. They will if they are not. Hmm? Yeah. So do you think you can have fully autonomous AI systems deployed in India in this condition? What should you do then? Enrich your model with all relevant data sets. Make sure before deploying models or before using all these models, make sure they are trained properly. Are there any risk that is been already reported in public or in any news or in any public platforms, right? There are a lot of AI incident reporting databases which will have a collection of issues like this, right? So if someone has lost their property because of AI, if someone has lost their life because of AI, have you gone through this character AI case? Yeah. Why did it happen? Okay, so basically, how many of you have vented all of your feelings to AI? No. How many of you have gone and blabbered something to AI about your school teacher, about your friend, about your parents? No? Sorry? Yes, of course. Okay. So stressful, huh? Okay. So, how do you mitigate all these things? So now you have got all misinformation, all biased outcomes, right? How do you overcome all these things? So whenever you prompt these AI systems, right? These are all the strategies that you should use. No, okay. You should say that I am a parent of a 16-year-old kid, and then that, yeah, yes, of course. Uh, yes, of course, that is also possible. The email ID has your the email ID has your date of birth. See, there are two different things. Context wise, you cannot overcome the safeguards that they have already built. Okay, there are account specific safeguards which says that you cannot use below 18 years and all, right? So in that case, the block. Hmm. Huh. Yes. Yeah. They. Okay. It is actually recording that this was asked by a minor person and also validated it, right? So when you are filing a case against them, they will have evidence that it was not actually asked by a senior person and it has given a proper response that is relevant to your age group, right? So that is for their safety and also to validate whether the users are from the respectable community and making it more safer and accountable, right? Uh, yeah, can you try the same prompt for your socio-cultural thing with all these strategies? So your prompt should have what is the context. Maybe you can't ask this because you're going to generate an image, or if you want to follow this, you can actually ask a question instead of asking it to generate an image. Okay, and then frame the perspective, right? So when you are actually generating an image, you can say that you are an artist from the South India region, so that it will give you, it will actually go and search for paintings and artwork that is created by the South Indians. And also assumptions like don't include Prime Minister, Chief Minister and all, right? So you can just give instructions. Apply all these 4 points in your prompt and see how the image is differing for the same thing, right? So no, see, this is a sample. Just specify the context. You know, the sample, the age that I have given is just a sample, right? So you can build your own context. Context is specifically the purpose or what is your fundamental ask, right? Quick, there is one more activity. any one of you has got some responses, just let me know. What? What did you get? What was your prompt and what was the image? Oh, what? Okay. Such a creative mind you are, like, you are biased. Or you are stereotyping. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Oh, that's nice. But the texture and the artwork is different, right? This is like a painting, and that was a realistic image. Yeah. Front of your school. Did you mention? Okay. With the conversation. Solar panels on top of a hut. Very good. I mean, these things are interesting to me to see like how the models are progressing. But yeah, I think you people should write a summary of all these observations. Right? Drone making pongal. Uh, okay, any other interesting things? Oh. Yes. Okay. But yeah, they are not in traditional wears, traditional attire. Okay. So how much of misinformation do you see here? How much of safety issues, how much of bias do you see here? Huh? Lots. From your previous version of image and the current version, do you see any improvements? Yeah, lot more, right? So now you got the response and you have to validate it against all these things. Right? Initially we saw some strategies to prompt a model and now we are seeing strategies to validate the model's response. Okay? So, do you think the image that you have generated has some truth value? Right? Does it have some facts or is it just hallucinating something? Okay? And was it as much as representative as what you thought, or is it still not relevant to your perspective, or is it not still relevant to the cultural background that you are from? Right? How many of you got a skin tone has to be very fair? All of the images that it has generated is all fair. You asked for a darker skin tone. Okay. Okay. So, did you get any responses that said, oh, I am unable to generate this image, I don't know this context? Yeah. Did anyone of you ask for evidences or citations? Did it give you the source? In image you can't get it, right? If you try it for any other textual responses, then you may get it. Okay? Yeah. So how do you enable these AI to be more inclusive of all these things, right? So there is this concept of participatory AI approach where you involve local community people to be part of the data collection process, the design, development and validation process, right? So that all these defects, all these gaps that the AI model have will be identified in the initial stage, and then when it gets into the deployment environment, it will be like, it's not 100% safe anyways, but then you can avoid the major mishappenings. Okay? Any questions? So the work that I mentioned, like Bhashini, there is a center here called AI for Bharat, right? So those centers are like working on building all these community data sets in that is relevant to the Indian language, the social setup here, and the cultural backgrounds that is still evolving, right? Even now the culture gets evolved, right? So practices, lifestyle are still varying between different people. So all these things should be fed into AI to serve people, right? And we at Center for Responsible AI are working on a similar project to identify what are all the real gaps that these AI models have in terms of the social and cultural values, right? So I can't go and tell. So how many of you have gifted wall clocks? Gifted wall clocks to someone? In Malaysia or China, that is prohibited. Like they don't, yeah, they don't gift wall clocks in a wedding and all. But here in India, that is a widely accepted practice. Like if you don't know what to buy, you will go get a wall clock and gift it, right? So that is a practice here. Similarly, there are a lot of other things which is not believed here. So how many of you have eaten in banana leaves? How do you close it? After finishing, how do you close it? Talk to God. But in certain regions, in certain times, you have to close it the other way. Yeah. So in happy occasions, you close it from top to bottom. In sad occasions, you should close it from bottom to top. So these are all the cultural practice, right? That's it. So now what you said, I am not aware of it, right? So how do AI can make people aware of all these things, right? So it's like passing on a legacy to the future generations with the help of AI. So whatever you teach should go in with all the cultural values, not just algorithms, not just the theorems that you study in all your maths, physics and all, right? So whenever you study, it should be grounded in the regional context and also add value to your life. That's the overall takeaway here, right? Yes, that's it. Any questions? Any feedback? Do you find this interesting? Yeah? Do write something about this, keep experimenting, okay? So teach people, teach your brothers, sisters, your friends about all these harms and risks, right? Go talk about this everywhere. And be aware of using AI whenever you are using it for your personal, professional, for whatever purpose you are using. Just think like, what is the information that I am going to upload? What is the outcome that I am going to get? Right? And apply these two strategies. Okay? Fact checking. Yeah. Yes. Go to your profile settings. Yeah. Your ChatGPT profile settings or Perplexity, right? There you will actually have data retention thing. disable it. AI detector will actually use all these data. But when you are actually feeding in information in all these tools, you have to disable it. AI detector in the sense are you talking about zero GPT or something? Yeah, those things you cannot avoid. Like it has to read from the data, and there are commercial, enterprise versions which will enable whatever you say, right? So if it's a public use open source thing, I don't think that is possible. And yeah, that's why we need human in the loop, like whoever is going to validate and say that this is a fact or a false information, right? So that has to be confirmed by a human validator. You can apply safeguards like in your prompt you say if you don't know the source of information, don't add it, right? So all those prompt level things you can do, but there should be a human to actually approve whether the AI generated report or the outcome is actually true or not. Okay. What's you are so inspired with melody, right? Why? I just want to understand the reason. Yeah. Why? Okay, I still have one question here. Did Modi add Hindi? No, no, in the actual image. Yeah? Yeah.